2, 3. This is my show. I ain't got no music. Yeah. Copyright.
Welcome back to Hat in the Ring. Today I'll be watching another episode of the Twilight Zone. It's an episode called I Am the Night, Color Me Black. Thanks to Laha, Danny D, and Shane Nelson for suggesting this episode. I hope you enjoy it. Let's go.
Into the Twilight Zone.
Mic check. Alright, here we go. I am the night. Color me black.
My watch stopped. It's pitch black out. It must be 3 or 4 in the morning.
Look how black it is out there. It's the middle of the night. What time are they stringing them up? You know what I mean. What time does he get hung?
He gets executed at 9:30.
A lot of information in that first few moments.
What don't you get, Deputy?
Sheriff, it's 7:30 in the morning and it's pitch black outside. I've never seen it any blacker, but it's 7:30 in the morning.
Tell you the truth, I don't know why.
That would be pretty freaky.
Not at all.
Logic and natural laws dictate that at this hour there should be daylight. It is a simple rule of physical science that the sun should rise at a certain moment and supersede the darkness. But at this given moment, Sheriff Charlie Koch, a deputy named Pierce, a condemned man named Jagger, and a small, inconsequential village will shortly find out that there are causes and effects that have no precedent. Such is usually the case in the Twilight Zone.
Okay. Here we go.
How did you occupy yourselves as a lad, Deputy? Torturing small animals or just pulling wings off flies?
What do you mean by that, Mr. Colby?
Nothing. Nothing at all. Can I talk to Jagger?
Right on in.
Even back then, they recognized that those were warning signs for sociopaths.
And for justice being served, deluxe style.
Deputy, why don't you shut your mouth?
I got a right to an opinion.
Indeed you have, Deputy. Indeed you have. But there's just a few disturbing facets about this case. Deputy Pierce here saw it happen and then perjured himself.
Now, wait a minute.
Perjured is the word, Deputy. You're right, Deputy. Justice is being served. On a platter with its tongue cut out, just like the carcass of any dead animal.
I'm guilty, Mr. Colby. That'll take you off the hook.
And that's supposed to mean what?
That's supposed to mean that you're on the popular side, Mr. Colby. You see, there are good guys and bad guys. That's the nature of man. Well, I'm a bad guy. I'm worse than a bad guy. I'm a town kook. I'm a neurotic. I'm the one with the causes and the banners. I'm the village idiot who tries to be his brother's keeper.
Jagger, the man you killed was no saint. But we don't dispense life or death just because somebody offends us. That's the distinction between men and animals.
That's very well said.
Technically, animals don't do that.
You tell them about the difference between men and animals. But you better be ready to draw pictures because this language they just don't dig.
I wonder if in the original draft of the script, Jagger was himself a black man. That guy's face acting is grade A. I mean, without him saying anything, you know exactly what the deal is.
Likes to stay on the good side of people. Here we are, gentlemen, treading water in a sewer.
Now, I don't take it from him, and I don't take it from you either.
You better unravel it, Pierce, or I'll spread you all over this yard.
Fighting words. Conviction. Something missing from today's society. Or culture, or both.
So you suppose, Reverend, there might be some theological explanation? Theological explanation? For the death or the darkness or both. You know, Reverend, maybe if we thought it was some divine act, we could sort of live with it.
I don't need any words, Reverend. No quotations in or out of the Bible.
Come on, let's get it over with.
That lady has somewhere to be.
Hey, don't you go home and get out of here. I got too much hate in me to keep plugged up anymore.
But it's a big thing nowadays, isn't it, Reverend?
That's all there is the majority. The minority must have died on the cross 2,000 years ago. He hated, and he killed, and now he dies. You hated, you killed. And now there's not one of you, who isn't doomed. Do you know what the blackness is? It's the hate he felt, the hate you felt, the hate all of us feel, and it's too much of it. It's just too much.
Colby? There'll be sun again. There'll be daylight.
I have no idea what's going to happen. That is a great...
And still the phenomenon remains unexplained, except for the reports that now come in of similar occurrences here in the United States and elsewhere. At 2 o'clock this afternoon, a dark cloud suddenly appeared over a street in Dallas, Texas. The mayor of West Berlin verified the fact that a rectangular area over the Berlin Wall has suddenly gone dark. In Birmingham, Alabama, an area in Shanghai, the entire northern section of Vietnam, a section of Chicago, Illinois, the darkness continues to make itself known.
A sickness known as hate. Not a virus, not a microbe, not a germ. But a sickness nonetheless. Highly contagious, deadly in its effects. Don't look for it in the Twilight Zone. Look for it in the mirror. Look for it before the light goes out altogether.
Wow. I'm going to take a couple moments to gather my thoughts on this one. There's a lot to unpack, as you know, and give me a second. That was a simple one, at least on the surface. Mr. Serling clearly had something powerful yet simple to say, and I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to look at some key things that stuck out. First, the references to the crucifixion. It's suggested at the beginning of the episode that the phenomenon of darkness was a direct result of the execution that had to happen later in the morning. Now, I'm fairly well versed in the New Testament, though I'm not religious anymore. More on that below. I immediately thought of the crucifixion when that was said. I wish I would have mentioned it when I thought about it, because sure enough, dialogue to the effect was given to the priest near the end of the episode. New Testament themes will come up in a Twilight Zone episode from time to time, and I'm puzzled by it. From what I understand, Rod Serling was of Jewish descent. I never looked into Mr. Serling's religious beliefs, and I don't think I ever will, because they will never matter to me as much as his work. However, it makes me wonder if he was some type of convert, or if he was just tolerant, or if he just knew his audience. I mean, maybe a combination of all three. Next, I looked up the original air date of this episode, and apparently it was March 1964. In the episode's denouement, the narrative lets us know that the hate clouds of darkness had formed specifically over the Berlin Wall, Dallas, Texas, Birmingham, Alabama, and other places. It wasn't lost on me that the assassination of President Kennedy was just a few months before the airing of this episode, and the Birmingham church bombing that killed 4 black girls was a few weeks before that. Combined with the other places and incidents, surely people were wondering why the world seemed darker than it ever had in their lifetime. A sentiment that I heard from family members just hours ago on a personal visit of my own. Finally, I'd like to share a snippet from something that I filmed for my other YouTube channel. This for the second time in 3 Hat in the Ring videos. I'm Really trying not to make this a habit because I would like to keep the endeavors separate, but it's right on the nose. Anyway, a little over a month ago, I made a video in response to the high-profile acts of violence that had happened in short succession in the United States. I made a lot of points, but the main one was based on a concept from the New Testament that I still respect and quote very often even though I'm not religious. Here it goes. The authentic letter to the Galatians, chapter 6, verse 7, he says, "Do not be deceived, God will not be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. A man or woman or human or family or corporation or city or church or country will reap what they sow." Link down below if you want to see the whole thing. If I may, rational viewer, like all of the darkest, most discouraging, most hateful errors and actions throughout human history, I'd like to remind everyone that no divine solutions came to save us from those situations. In every one of those instances, from the Crusades to the Inquisition, to slavery, to the Holocaust, those things ended because of the actions of people who wanted to see those things end. Even if they were inspired by their religion and spirituality, they still did it themselves. I believe that any socio-cultural issue that plagues our human communities today will only end the same way. The longer we wait, the longer it goes on. I'm Odium. This has been Hat in the Ring. Come back for the next reaction.